Hello everyone, this is Sarah Salim from IEEE Lahore. Today we have Mr. Salman with us. Mr. Salman is professional engineer with versatile and dynamic experience of 10 years in industrial engineering and supply chain management, particularly in material management, procurement, spares planning and inventory optimization. Likewise, having IT expertise in enterprise resource planning, specifically in SAP material management and plant maintenance. He has done various electrical engineering from Sasaid University of Engineering and Technology in 2011 and Masters in Industrial Control and Automation from Hamdard University, Karachi in 2016. Currently pursuing Masters of Engineering Management in Supply Chain from NED University of Engineering and Technology. He has been previously associated with General Tyre and Rubber Company of Pakistan as senior procurement engineer and leading pharma industry Gates Pharma as assistant manager procurement in the area of plant engineering and projects. Currently working as SR assistant manager spares planning in Amreli Steel. He is also member of Pakistan Engineering Council and IEEE USA and member of Power and Engineering Society. Thank you, sir, for giving us time. Floor is all yours.
Thank you, Safura, for a brief introduction and thank you for inviting me on your show. It has been Sunday, and today we have some great news in form of cricket, and we all are happy today as Pakistan has reached to the semi-final. Uh, since we all are engineers and some of people are doing graduation in engineering, we mostly have seminars regarding to our technical innovation, like on research, like on the upgradations happening in the engineering world around the industry. So today I just thought to to change some flavor and talks about the organizational culture, system, and the behavior. A topic or a section which is most important for the engineers, especially the fresh engineers or those young professionals who just have recently started the engineering. And whenever you join the company, you must know their culture, you must know their systems and the behavior. These things are important to survive in any industry. I mean, one, if we have technical expertise, we all have some good knowledge, but if these three things we don't understand well in the organizations, it is a difficult task for us to survive. So today I'm going to tell you about the organization culture and the behavior. And I'm sure the learning outcome in this would be that you people will be going to learn that how you're going to work as a team, how you are going to work as a group, what are the basic factors in making a positive culture in any organization where you are working, and how you are actually going to manage your work, the stress at the work, the changes in the company, and sometimes most of the people didn't accept the change, and how actually we can actually overcome to the change. So these things I'm going to discuss. Already Safura has a brief introduction about myself, so I'm going directly towards the presentation. What is the culture? Culture basically defines the rule of the game. It has the boundary defining roles. It creates distinctions between the organizations. It enhances the stability of the social system. Basically, the culture is a social glue that helps the organization together by providing the standards for what employees should say and what should he not do or what he must not say. Every culture has its values, its missions, its core aspects. Like country wise, we have a different culture. Pakistan have a different culture. Western countries have a different culture. Everyone has their own different values. So same goes in the organizations as well. So this is actually the culture is about, and what the factors basically influence the culture, and how actually the members that distinguish the organizations from other organizations. These are the innovation and the risk taking in organization, how much the people take the risk. Attention to the detail mean that how much people take attention to their assignment and the task. Outcome orientations is about the degree to which the management focus on the results. People orientation means that how much management believe in the training of the people. Team orientation is about that how much the individuals employ work as a team to achieve their goals. Aggressiveness is not about being an aggressive, it's about that how much space of work you have to complete your task. And the last thing is the stability, that how much the organization is stable. I mean, there are plenty of organizations, they can have an impact. That impact can be social, economic, or other things, etc. So these things actually defines the organization culture and actually how, as an individual, can actually influence the organization. Uh, Individually, I am here talking about that you must be a visible role model. Whenever a task given to you, you must come forward. You should initiate rather waiting for somebody. In this way, you can create a positive benchmark in the organizations, creating the competition. Similarly, you communicate in an ethical way. One of the most important thing is that in organization, communication plays an important role in the career of any individual. If you don't communicate ethically with the people, either they are worker, either they are lower staff, either they are higher management, then your works become difficult. The third thing is about providing the ethical trainings. Training and development is vital for anyone to succeed in the organization. Another thing is that rewards, compensations, and the last one is that providing protective mechanism. When I talk about the protective mechanism, it's mean that the formal mechanism so everyone can discuss dilemmas and the report unethical behavior without fear of reprimand. So these are the influence organization culture that is actually affecting. As you know that in the today world, the organizational changes are happening rapidly. They can be around, this can be around technological changes. They can be, managerial changes. It's happening globally. Almost every organization must adjust according to the multicultural environment, demographic changes, immigration, and the outsourcing. So one must be, always prepared for the changes. And mostly we have seen in the organizations that whenever there is a change in organization, there is a resistance to the change. And these resistance can be positive or they can be the negative. But how you overcome these changes, it is about when you communicate with the people, you ask the people who are resisting to participate that what are their reservations in that. You develop the positive relationships. You select the people who accept the changes. And the last one is the course and last on the list of the tactics. I mean, if somebody is not actually accepting the change, then the management has the authority to to give them the warning letters, to block their promotions, to give them the poor letter of recommendations. These are the tactics that the management has in overcoming the resistance. The one individual who was overcoming the resistance to the change. Now, what is the stress at the work? Mostly, we students in our student life also get stressed. They got stressed due to their exams. And when we came into the professional life, our bosses or our line managers give us a lot of tasks, and suddenly we get stressed. And why we actually get stressed is because we don't know how to manage, or we can say that we lack some skills that what work should be done on the priority basis. To give you an example, that just like a microprocessor or microcontroller, they actually perform the task which has the highest priority, and the task which has the lowest priority, they do it on the next schedule, on the next stage, just like our computer is. So similarly, we as an individual should also manage our work, manage the stress level, and we can manage it by maintaining to do the list, making the checklist, doing the hard tasks first, doing those tasks which is assigned directly by our line manager, or we can say directly assigned by our dean or our chairman or the vice chancellors of the university. In this way, we can actually reduce the stress. Often, I have seen in my career that people make mistakes in not fulfilling the task given by their bosses, by their line manager, and they do those tasks which is least on priority. which actually give a kind of a negative marking in their appraisals or give a negative impact of their personalities among the management. So the tip here is that whatever task given by your management which has the highest priority, you should do the same. Now, as I already discussed about the stress management, we I'm moving towards state what is the actually organizational behavior is. Organizational behavior is basically a field of a study that investigate the impact individuals, group, and the structures have on the behavior within the organization. For purpose of applying such knowledge toward improving on the organizational effectiveness. OB is basically the study of the people, what they do in the organization and their behavior which can affect the organization performance. It is basically specified with the employer related situation. It examines the behavior in context of the job satisfaction. I mean, how much the employee is actually satisfied with his or her job performance. Absenteeism is also taken, employment turnover, production performance management. This is actually the definition of the organization behavior. And what are the factors in the organization behavior? They are motivations. Number one is the motivation. Number two is the leader behavior and the power. Yourself, interpersonal communication, the group structure, your attitude development, perception, change process, conflict negotiation, and the work designs. So basically, who is looking after the organizational behavior? It is, of course, the managers or the head of the department. They are looking after the organizational behavior. Why? Because they have the function, they have those skills which actually makes them controlling the or fulfilling the purpose of the behaviors one of their employees. Why? Because they have the function, because they do planning, they do organizing, they do lead, and they do controlling. When we talks about planning, it's mean their managers define goal, establish a strategy, and develop plan to coordinate the activities. Second thing is the organizing. Again, organizing is the very important one. I mean, you have either you are a manager or not, you have to define what task has to be done and how the tasks are to be the group and how the tasks should be assigned to an individual based on his or her expertise, which I'm going to tell you in a later slide. And then you also have to lead. You have to lead from the front. And lastly, you have to control the thing to ensure the plans which you have actually scheduled are defining or they are according to their task. So what the skills the management must have or any engineer must have while you are focusing on development of the organizational behavior. First of all, you must be technically sound. You must have your technical expertise of any engineering field, whatever job you are doing. You must have the human skills as well. I mean, which this is one of the most important thing because being a technical doesn't mean that you should lack the human skills. I mean, you should be rude with your employees, with your teamwork. You must actually have the ability to understand, communicate with your employees, with your team member, motivate them, support the people both individually and in the group. And then you must have the conceptual skills to resolve the issues. So, according to the research, this is very much important. And I think uh, this is not only for the managers but it is for the engineers as well, especially for those who are just graduated or who are currently studying in the university or they have any year, either they are in final year or in third year or in second year. A, a successful engineer or a manager is basically the one who has a great networking skills, who actually communicate across the organization, across the department, across with all the people. He is basically successful, and believe me, such people got promotion so much. Just to give the example, like women in engineering of the Lahore section do an excellent networking, and I am also the part of their networking as well. The more networking that you do, the more successful you are in terms of achieving your goals. So this is research also says. I mean, if you are an average person or you are an average manager, then the chances of your success are little bit less. And successful people mostly rely on the networking, and then they do the traditional management communication and then the human resource management. Now, build your personality. This is one of the most important thing that an engineer must have. I have seen a lot of people in my career that they have done double masters or they are pursuing their PhDs or whatever, but they never focus on building their personalities. And this is the thing that an individual must have in order to build your personality. Personality is basically the sum of total ways in which an individual like to interact with the others. The conscientious dimension is a measure of the reliability. High conscious person is responsible, organized, dependable, and persistent. People with the higher emotional stability tend to be calm and secure. What are the other factors are which actually I have defined that they are conscientious, they have the conscientiousness factor in their self, they are emotionally stable, they actually do extroverts, openness to experience and sharing their experience. Agreeableness is also the thing. I mean, in your personality, develop some kind of agreeableness. Being a flexible, it's all about. I mean, you always have not to ask other to agree with yourself. I mean, you cannot be perfect anytime. You have to be flexible in listening the other opinion and in accepting the other opinions as well to define your personality. This is how the work happens in the organization, and I hope the same also happens in the team as well, whatever team in your final year projects or in your class and other thing you're doing. So these actually are the big traits of the personalities. According to the research, a person having the consciousness are important for success across many jobs, and they actually are more successful and they actually perform their work better. They come more reliable in front of their management. Similarly, extroverts perform better in job with a significant interpersonal interaction. They are socially dominant, take charge, people who are usually more assertive. And then it's about openness to the experience. I have seen mostly that people normally don't share their experiences, but in 2017, when I went to Denmark for a short period of time, I saw many people doing their networking and sharing their experiences. And while you are sharing the experiences with each other, it gave a pathway in form of learning, in form of knowing, in form of the insightful thinking the one must have. So these are the traits of the personalities. Now, there are two things mostly we have. One is the group and another is the team. These are the two words which are slightly different. What is actually the group is? Group is two or more individuals interacting and who have come together to achieve a particular objective. And there are two types of groups. Formal group is about a designated work group defined by an organizational structure. Informal group is basically it is not actually defined by the organization. It is totally not formal, and basically in response to the need for the social contact they actually appear. Now, the social identity in the group. People often feel strong about the group partly because, as the research indicate, experience amplify perception of the events. Mostly people wanted to come forward in the group. They wanted to, develop their personality. They wanted to be recognized across the group, and they want that they should be recognized in the group, that they are influenced and they actually have the authority and power to take the decisions. Now, the property of behaviors in the group are there are certain behaviors which define a role. There are minimal standard of the behavior within the group which are allowed by the member. There is a status in the group, a social defined position or a rank given to the group member by others. Size and the dynamics mean the how much your group is big. Cohesiveness is how much your group is. interacted with each other and how much bonding is between each other. Like in the final year project, you actually make a group, you actually search with the people who are according to your mindset, or who can actually accept the norms, this acceptable standard behavior within the group. So these are actually the properties of the behavior R. And how you actually do the decision making in the group, you actually sit with the people around. Whether groups are more effective than individual depends on how you define the effectiveness. You actually do a kind of brainstorming session with everyone. You are open in sharing the ideas and the information in the group. Now, what is the decision making technique? As I told earlier, that member face we meet face to face and rely on both verbal and non-verbal communication. Brainstorming can come over the pressure for conformity, like you do people brainstorming session on conducting the webinars. You people do you actually criticize with each other because the session are open, and sometimes it's happened that most member opinion is not actually liked by the one, but it is a kind of a forum where you can actually discuss openly, and member mostly are encouraged to think unusual. No criticism is basically allowed in this. Even of the most bizarre suggestion is welcome, right? So these things are actually happen in the group. Now the teamwork. Teams are more flexible, responsible to the changing events. They can quickly assemble, deploy, refocus, and disband. They are an effective mean. Research indicates that our involvement in team positively shapes the way we think as an individual. And now, what is the difference between the group and the team? A work group is a group that is primarily to share information and make the decision to help each other member, while the team, on the other hand, generates the positive synergy through coordination. The individual effort result in a level of performance greater than the sum of the individual inputs. Like the organization where I'm working, I have a bigger team. Whenever I wanted to achieve a goal, I actually may inspect the team, and in the team, everyone has a different expertise. That A person is doing this one, B person will do this work, and etc. Once we assign the goal, we actually achieve our goals. And there are many types of team there are. We have problem solving team, self managed work team, cross functional team. Cross functional teams are the team which are having a different expertise, a different kind of things, where the people sit together and perform their designated task. Now important thing is that whenever we are making a team, what most important thing is, and this slide is actually important especially for the students who are doing their final year project. And believe me, that final year project is basically a kind of your test match or a benchmark where you can actually utilize your skills, your abilities in order to move further in or before joining the industry. First of all, while making a successful team, you must have the adequate resources within yourself. Then you must have the leadership quality in yourself. Then the third one is the climate of the trust between each one. And the last one is the performance evaluation, the reward system. Like I have seen that IEEE or WIE Lahore section, whenever there is a successful event, they actually give people reward, which is a very good thing. In this way, people motivates, they actually stick together and do their work accordingly. Now, how you do the team composition, how you actually select your team. First of all, you have to analyze that which, while making a team, for example, in your class, if you wanted to make a team of a cricket match or a team of your project work, you need to actually check that which member has which ability, how much one has the knowledge, the skills, the expertise that you are looking forward. And the second one is the personality of the member is most important. I mean, if you are selecting any member, You must actually screen out the traits of the personality before selecting any member. And the third one is the allocation of the role. Being a leader doesn't mean that everything is lie upon your shoulders. It means that you actually trust your team, you actually assign your team a designated task and lead them. And if they need your help, you actually motivate them and encourage them and give some problem solving techniques to them whenever they need. So this is how your team composition is all about. And the same you do in the work in your industry, that you actually being an engineer, you have to perform your task, you have to actually fix the machine, and in that way you have to actually line up with the workers who actually they don't understand the uh, the communication, but you have to actually give them the trainings, the techniques, the problem solving techniques in order to make them motivated and stand together whenever the any downtime or any malfunctioning in the machines occur. So this is the team process. You actually make a common plan, and the process you define the specific goals that what actually you need to do. You actually analyze the team efficiency, that identify the team members, that which person can do which task, and then you do the cohesion. I mean the unity, your attachment, your emotionally bonding with each other. I mean, if one member is struck for some reason, that could be personal or they can be any technical, you must line up with him or her to understand his or her problems and rectify instead of pressurizing, or instead of exaggerating on him or her that look, you cannot do anything, or you are not a good team player, or this and that. So when you motivate, when you encourage your team members, and when you understand their problems, and when you actually move forward shoulder to shoulders, you achieve your goals in the organization or whatever the project work you wanted to carry out. So turning individual into the team player, this thing actually I was talking about, that whenever you hire your team player and if you have seen any weakness in your team member, you start developing his skills. You actually held a workshop, just like today Safura actually organized this workshop, and his and her team member also credit also to them to give you the skills of the organization behavior, so her team can be developed. So in this way you can also actually manage your team or your individual person to achieve your goals. And then last one is the reward. That reward could be the certificate of appreciation in form of the monetary benefit or etc. So that's all from my side. If you have any questions, you can ask. Yes, I can share the slides with you. What does leadership looks like in your company? Okay. uh, I will suggest to read our vision missions of the company, the value vision missions, and in this way you can actually analyze that uh, what is the leadership in our company. Another question? Effective manager is better, but you have to do the networking with the people across the organization or within the organization. You have to do networking with the, like I'm an electrical engineer, I have to make a license with my production department, with my mechanical maintenance department, with my finance, because at the same time I also need to understand their problems as well. If I didn't know about their problems or their issues, that how can actually I be successful? While you are working for any company, it it doesn't matter either you are a man or a woman. In today's world we talk about the equal gender, equality in gender. We are both. people oriented and the task oriented. Team performance is about, first, as I already told you, that you have to select, your selection must be good in order to have a better performance in your team. And the second thing is that the leadership quality is important, because if some of your team member is not performing better, you must understand his or her problem, trying to figure out that what is the thing which is actually affecting the team performances. No, I think strict attitude, I would say that better controlling should be done. It is a good thing. Strict attitude didn't mean that you should be rude. You must have a power of controlling the people as well. Because if you have a strict attitude, maybe you can actually lose your team or your people around. Any other questions?
Okay,
Safura,
thank you so much.
can you also share my LinkedIn profile with the participants, so
Sure,
they can actually
I will.
also connect with me on the LinkedIn, and in future we have more details in form of networking.
Sure. There is a question.
If any team leader is not working and she had the potential to do the task, first of all, team leader, you select the leaders basically, and I have never seen any leader that he is not performing his or her task. You actually choose the leader when they have the ability to motivate the people, to encourage the people. And if someone is not doing the task or his or her responsibility, then he is not a leader.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir, for your precious time and this wonderful session. I hope our audience enjoyed it. Dear participants, thanks a lot for your attending the session. Your certificates will be shared within 2 days, and our next workshop will announce in our official groups. Stay tuned. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Welcome.